I'm Mark Yaxley. Welcome back inside the vault. Today we're focusing on a subject that I take very seriously, especially because it ties in with exactly what we do here at SWP. You see, sometimes when people buy precious metals from a vendor or a broker for storage in one of their vaults or storage programs, they don't always know what they're getting. One of two things can happen. Either the marketing material from the vendor or the dealer is misleading, and I've seen this happen often throughout my career, even from some of the more reputable dealers in the business, or the legalities of the storage contract can be buried in the storage agreement or the fine print of the terms and conditions. People often don't understand them or don't take the time to read those contracts. So today, here inside the vault, with the help of these visual cues, I'm going to explain to you the different types of storage accounts that exist, including unallocated, allocated commingled, and fully segregated storage. We'll discuss the pros and cons of each and share some best practices with you so you don't get taken advantage of. We're going to start by talking about unallocated accounts represented by this pile over here. So the first question is, what is an unallocated account? Basically, in simple terms, what it means is that you own precious metals that are part of a larger pool. You don't have any direct title to specific bars or coins. What you own is a share of a pool of precious metals held by the company on your behalf. So the next question is, what do you actually own when you have metals in an unallocated account? What you could own is some rounds, like these ones here. Could also be in the form of a bar of a defunct manufacturer that's really considered scrap metal at this point. It could be in the form of some junk silver that is bought back under spot, so it's got lesser value than some other products. But more often than not, sadly, you might actually just own a piece of paper. And the reason that this happens, because when you buy an unallocated product, is that basically you're giving the dealer permission to manipulate their inventory as they see fit to satisfy their contract to you. You literally can be left holding a piece of paper, and in some cases you can be literally left holding nothing at all, because when all of these movements are happening within the company's back office, metals moving from one depository to another, scrap metals going to a refinery, they're offsetting your trade with another paper trade. It's really hard for you to distinguish what you actually own. You certainly don't own personal property any longer, and there's no way that an auditor could possibly come in at any point in time and fully audit the company's position and retrace your metal. The advantages of an unallocated account is that they're very cost effective, and the dealer can do this because, again, you're giving them the right to manipulate and use the position for their own means. So in exchange, they'll offer you very low commissions or premiums in order to own this product. The cons are that you're not able to establish clear ownership of personal property. And again, you will not be able to have this metal audited. Typically, you can withdraw physical precious metals from unallocated accounts, although you have to keep in mind, you're going to have to pay the premium, shipping, and insurance for these products before they're delivered to you. The next type of account that we're going to speak about is the allocated commingled accounts. So that's one step up from the unallocated accounts. Now we know where the metal is. The problem is we might not know what form it comes in or who it belongs to. There are two possibilities. When you're buying into a commingled program, what often ends up happening is that, let's say you're investing in silver and you buy $1,000 worth of silver. You might be buying a sliver of a much larger silver bar that is co-owned by a number of different people. The problem here, again, a little bit like with unallocated, is you're going to have troubles identifying clear ownership of the personal property. The second scenario is that when you're buying precious metals that are going into a commingled pile, you may not know which brand of product you're paying for or eventually receiving. I'm going to give you a real life example that recently happened to one of our clients to illustrate the point I'm trying to make here. Mr. Jones purchased two 10-ounce Pam Suisse bars for deposit at a facility inside the United States about 5 years ago. Because he was buying Pam Suisse bars, he paid a higher than normal premium for a product that has an excellent reputation and liquidity. 5 years go by, he decides to transfer his 20 ounces of gold to our facility. When the products arrived to our facility, they weren't two 10-ounce Pam Suisse bars. They were two 10-ounce generic gold bars of lesser brand strength. When we informed the client that the products had been swapped out, he came to realize that he had entered a commingled storage program at the initial facility. The problem that he faces now is that he's holding two products of lesser value and brand strength than what he originally purchased. So his two bars went into a commingled pile, and then 5 years later, two different bars came out of that pile, leaving the client with a problem. He's now spending time, energy, and money debating with the original facility about what went wrong. So just an example of what can happen when you're buying into a commingled situation. The pros, again, of buying into commingled accounts is that you're going to save a little bit of money. The cons are that you're going to have a hard time establishing ownership of personal property and auditing that personal property. You're certainly not going to be able to go to the facility and say, I'd like to see my $1,000 worth of silver. They're just going to point you at a larger silver bar. Or you could have the same scenario that our client faced where your products are being swapped with others potentially of lesser value. The final type of storage account that we're going to talk about is fully allocated and fully segregated. I call this old school. When you purchase precious metals that are in a fully allocated, fully segregated account, you own the physical gold and silver down to the exact coin and bar that you purchased. They can be identified all the way down to the serial number. It is your personal property. Very easy to identify, very simple to audit by third parties, and also very simple to audit by yourself if you can make your way down to the facility and visit your precious metals and take a look. So when you're buying precious metals for the fully allocated, fully segregated accounts, they're literally being purchased and deposited into your own storage bins. They're not being commingled like we saw earlier. They're not a fractional amount of a larger product, and they're certainly not something that we're not clear on at all. The ownership of your product is very, very clear. As you can see, for example, you'll have your own unique identifiers for your physical storage location, and then those products are going to be physically segregated from anyone else in the vault. I can go down to the facility, open up my box, audit the products that I purchased, make note of the serial numbers that come on the bars that are unique to these products, return them myself, and then that box is most likely going to be sealed up with another unique identifier. Again, it makes the whole process very, very clear, very, very definitive that I am the owner of these products. And that's really what you're after. The last thing that you need in your life is the uncertainty of who owns this property. Is it the dealer? Is it a bunch of people? Or are you the clear owner? The pros of owning physically allocated and segregated metals are that it makes auditing very straightforward, not only for third parties, but also for yourself. As well, you're eliminating any third-party risk from the equation because you are the legal owner of this personal property. The company doesn't have the right to manipulate it in any way. We're going to leave you with 4 insider tips to help you avoid being taken advantage of. Number 1, always buy from a reputable company. This is going to reduce third-party risk and help you avoid fraud or potential criminality. If possible, buy from a company that both sells the precious metals and stores the precious metals, which will help you cut out the middleman. Number 2, read the contract carefully. Make sure you understand what you're getting. If you don't understand, don't hesitate to ask the dealer or broker questions. They should be able to give you clear answers so that you know exactly what you're getting into. Number 3, make sure a physical audit of the metals is conducted at least once a year by a third party. And finally, make sure to deal with a company that allows you the possibility to come down and visit and self-audit your metals. For example, here at SWP, given only 24 hours notice, we allow our clients to come down and conduct a self-audit. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Inside the Vault. I hope you took away some very important notes on how to better understand the type of storage options that do exist out there. By listening and employing these best practices, I'm sure you'll find a safe home for your precious metals. I'm Mark Yaxley. If you have any more questions, feel free to email us at info@swpcayman.com. You can tweet us at swpgold or subscribe to our YouTube channel and enjoy more great episodes of Inside the Vault.